We talk about production design. We are talking about the creation of the environment on stage. No matter what type of stage we are performing on, we are creating the environment through design for the action of the play. Now, our ability to create that environment is influenced by the type of stage, certainly. But in design, what we are doing is defining the space. How much space actually do we have to perform in? When we when designers, theatrical designers, people who are trained in creating these environments, set out to achieve this, they follow some principles that designers, scenic designers, are trained in and are familiar with. Um, Line, for example, the angles and the orientation of the set on the stage. Shape, what structures will be on the stage and how will they be oriented to achieve what they want. Color. Color provides uh, so much. We will see when we talk about theater during the early 20th century, and expressionism, how color played a very big part in establishing mood and atmosphere. The space itself, the size of it. Um, Sometimes, yet again, when you want to make an impact, if you set an actor in a vast, what appears to be a vast open space on stage, the focus is on that actor. Perhaps this expresses some sort of mood or idea. Maybe this character is floating about aimlessly and not able to find his way in this big, open, undefined space, whatever. Um, Texture, what we see on stage, jagged rocks, soft furniture, things that will further establish a mood, an atmosphere, a location. And ornamentation, how is that stage decorated? Um, Ornamentation on a stage helps to establish the period that the play is set in. Also, it establishes um, the social placement of the people where they fall on the social ladder. If it is an ornately, comfortably furnished home, the audience will assume that, of course, these people are doing pretty well and they are living comfortably. If, on the other hand, you've got very little furniture and it looks like the home has not been cared for, that speaks to establishing the nature of the family or the people living there. All of this, all of this has to work together, and the challenge of achieving harmony. You don't want elements on the stage to fight with each other, colors or something that appears to be out of place on a set. Uh, that speaks to balance. Things have to, for the viewer, things have to appear balanced. Variety. Um, you don't want to have sameness on stage. Interest. Now, this is one thing. In some cases, stages, sets tend to compete with the story. As an audience member, we are overwhelmed by what we see on stage. So it's not just the balance of what's happening visually on stage. It's how that staging, what we see, impacts the action of the play. Proportion, rhythm, emphasis. Here's one. Suppose there is a stage, a set that is two levels. And on one area of the stage, somewhere upstage, there is a staircase that leads up to a platform. Our focus will go there. All you have to do is hit it with a bit of light or have a character enter on that level, and the audience's focus will go right there. This is the benefit and the power of stage design. It directs the audience's focus. Um, a powerful tool in telling a story. With all of this, there has to be collaboration. People working in these different areas have to be aware of the work that each member of this production team, each collaborator is doing. That is the way the theater, or excuse me, the way the production achieves harmony. Work, excuse me, working together. All right, I want to move on now to chapter 13, playwriting and dramaturgy. Now that we've already said that the play is the starting point of the whole production process, the beginning. We start with the play. But where does the playwright start? The playwright creates the text. Now, playwrights can be inspired by any number of things. They can be inspired by other works of literature, current events, uh, tragedies, financial crises, uh, um, epidemics, pandemics. You can imagine that after going through COVID for the last several years, the influence on playwrights is going to be pretty significant as to what they will create. But playwrights can be inspired. They can draw inspiration from any number of sources. So, even considering that, if I am inspired to write a play about the impact of COVID on the lives of a particular group of people, I'm going to research, I'm going to ask questions, I'm going to find out as much as I can about the impact that the pandemic had on these people. But even in doing that, if there is another playwright out there somewhere who is inspired to write about the same thing, you can bet that their interpretation, their story will be different. It is coming from two different playwrights with two different points of view who possibly are focused on making um, a particular statement, and these statements are different. With every playwright, there is a different story to tell. So you decide on the story that you're telling, and you decide on how you want to tell the story. We've already looked at how plays are structured. You can decide on how that information will come to us. Are we going to write the play with a climactic plot structure? Are we going to take a more explorational view trek to our through our story and write it with a uh, episodic plot structure. I'll be back.